Hello and welcome to the first update of The Case of the Mummy's Curse. Before I delve into the directory, the newspapers in this game function pretty much just like the scans that are provided. They just don't seem to operate like a normal newspaper, as you can manipulate each column independently. Now, the directory is a bit of a beast. As you can see here, the regulars are all under one tab. And you can see here why I decided to make a shortlist, as there are a lot of names. Feel free to pause on each tab if you want to peruse these at your own leisure, as I'm not going to hang around. The regulars are listed under their own names. As you can see here, you can see Lestrade Inspector, and you can also see under Scotland Yard the criminal investigations, which is also Lestrade. So you can access him via either or. Okay, so let's make a start on our visits. The first location we will visit is the British Museum, and one feature that I couldn't show off in the introduction video is the Search Holmes' files in the bottom right corner. And generally you'll see a description, but they don't work with everyone, unfortunately. But you can still see them under most of them. Okay, that's enough of a distraction. Let's start with the British Museum.
Windibank's body was found in the mummy's case.
Inside it?
Precisely. One of the guards, Henry Witherspoon, discovered it when making his rounds. He noticed that the lid was askew and a hand was sticking out of it. By the look on his face when he came to summons me, he must have thought that the mummy was attempting to leave its resting place. Some of the guards have been a bit on edge, you know, since the stories about Dr. Turnbull's death.
What happened when you arrived at the scene?
Witherspoon assisted me in removing the lid, and there was the body of James Windibank. Around his neck was a bandage of linen.
And the mummy was missing?
No, it was in there too. Underneath poor Windibank, completely undisturbed, not a length of its sheeting unraveled.
Who had access to the exhibit room?
Well, the room was officially closed yesterday while we set up the exhibit. But the museum was open and we took no extraordinary precautions to keep people out.
Can you think of anyone who might have wanted to kill Windibank?
None at all. I actually didn't know him very well. He did work for the museum, you see. He was with the London University. The university and the museum were joint sponsors of the Ketterbeck expedition.
Mr. Johnson, can you think of anything whatsoever that might shed some light on this affair?
No. I'm very sorry. I can't think of a thing. I only hope that all this publicity doesn't keep people away from the exhibit.
That was quite an interesting start. Second on the list is Inspector Lestrade.
Well, well, if it isn't Mr. Sherlock Holmes, London's most overly praised amateur sleuth, needing the help of the Yard again.
Are you going to stand for that, Holmes? Let's just see who proceeds to solve this case, Watson. Inspector Lestrade, my good man, I'm looking into the cause of James Windibank's death.
I should have known. That murder has brought out every crank in the city. I think the professional police can wrap this one up.
All the same, could you tell us what you've discovered to date?
One dead archaeologist, no suspect, no motive.
And what of Andrew Weatherby's death? Have you looked into that?
I have talked to Captain Ramsey, but we have no leads. Look, I'm not even sure that Weatherby's murder falls into our jurisdiction. And if it doesn't, you're not going to find me worrying about it. As it is, I have enough murders to take care of.
As I mentioned, the regulars won't always be very helpful. We must have caught him on an off day. So the third location that we're going to visit is Andrew and Clarissa Weatherby. I'm guessing that Clarissa is Andrew's widow.
I'm very sorry to intrude on you in your moment of grief.
Oh, that's quite all right. You know, Andrew and I hadn't been married very long.
Long enough to know if he had any enemies?
Oh, Andrew was so unassuming. Everyone liked him.
Including Mr. Urubaru?
I really loved my husband.
I'm sure you did. Oh, English toffee. My favorite.
Would you like one?
Please.
Sorry, you'll have to open this yourself. I've never been any good with these things.
Oh. That seemed a little bit awkward. Fourth on the list is... It says James Windibank, but I'm guessing that we're going to visit a member of his family, maybe?
James was so thrilled when Dr. Turnbull invited him to join the expedition. He felt he had spent his entire life reading books about archaeology, and now was finally getting an opportunity to go out into the field.
Tell me, Mrs. Windibank, when your husband returned, did he discuss the deaths of his colleagues?
Of course. James was extremely upset. I know he did not believe a curse to be responsible. My husband was a man of science.
Okay, for some reason, James Windibank's widow doesn't have a first name. Never mind. The next location on the list is Herman Ramsey, who I believe was the captain of the ship.
We had just come through a rather grueling storm, so I sent my first officer, Luther Tenney, down into the hold to check on the condition of the cargo. He reported back post-haste that Mr. Weatherby was lying dead among the Egyptian artifacts we were transporting. I turned over the helm to Tenney and went below to have a look for myself.
And did what you see confirm Teddy's report?
Unfortunately, yes. Weatherby was lying next to that coffin, or whatever it's called, apparently strangled. I went back to the bridge and put Tenney in charge of the investigation.
And what did he uncover?
Well, you'll have to ask him for the specifics, because I can scarcely recall the details.
And the last location on the list is the Jardine Mayton and Company. And this is where we go to send the irregulars. And this is a very good first stop. And this is a perfect example of what the irregulars can do. And this is a very good time to check out the notebook. This notebook contains every clue that we have found so far. Some locations were more revealing than others, but at least we've opened up some more leads. And this is the list of passengers at the bottom, and I believe that all but one are able to visit for an interview. Well, apart from the dead people. The clue hints are basically going to be text hints. We won't be using them in this playthrough. And even though we haven't got enough clues to take this to the judge, I will show off what happens when you try too early.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, but it seems you will have to turn up a clue or two more before I'll judge this case.
And there we go. That is the end of this update. Happy voting!